Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Go to the church, though.
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, record. Do you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
I wish to salute you all Ugandans that are watching us from here and abroad, and other citizens in Africa and the entire world. We are streaming live on our Facebook pages, that's the Alternative Uganda and also Dig Talk TV, and later alone the very show is on our YouTube channel, the Alternative Uganda. Every Wednesday we have Justice Kanyeihamba, but there are those special Wednesdays where we have other special guests, especially people of his age and experience and expertise.
I am older than him.
Okay. So today we are humbled to have with us Dr. Frank Nabwiso. Dr. Frank Nabwiso was an MP of Kagoma County in Jinja, and that is 2006, 2001 to 2006.
Yes.
Of course, Justice Kanyeihamba is a household and a global name as well. And on my left, before I invite each one of them to say hello to our viewers, he's the first person to read Lusoga. Somewhere I read Lusoga on Radio Uganda, and this was in 1962.
Yes.
So he's the first person to export Lusoga from Busoga region to Radio Uganda. And he's Dr. Frank Nabwiso. These two gentlemen are all based one another. They will share their bit of history then when they are. I don't know whether you've ever fought for porridge like young people nowadays. Or sure. But to say, Dr. Frank, say hello to the viewers.
Hello viewers, I'm very delighted to be with you again.
Okay, Dr. Frank.
Nabwiso is my name. I'm very, very, very delighted to be here and to talk to you, my colleagues in Uganda and in Africa.
But, before we begin, you were trying to be, I don't know, not sarcastic when you said he didn't join you to fight Amin.
No, he didn't.
Why did you
And Basega are very, very brave people. As you can see, the fight between Museveni and Kadaga, their woman. But Nelson somehow, when we went to remove Idi Amin, I came all the way from Europe. I couldn't find him. He was in hiding.
You couldn't find him. Where were you hiding?
No, I left Uganda in January 1973 to go and do my PhD in the University of Wisconsin-Madison. By the way, the university was named after President James Madison. I think he was the fourth president of the US. So that's where I went. And I finished my PhD in 1976. Makerere was on fire at that time, so I couldn't come back. And I remained in Nairobi and he took on some international jobs. And they continued to fight Amin in this sense that we were helping Ugandans who were running away from Uganda, led by the late Festo Kivengere.
His friend.
He's the one who recruited me.
Okay.
He came all the way to London where I was
So
teaching,
Festo
though.
Kivengere.
And he said, Kanyeihamba, you are wanted. Join to Museveni and join Ruhakana Rugunda, join Amanya Mushega. Tanzania has agreed to remove Amin. But we are going to be criticized by the OAU members that Tanzania is interfering in the affairs of a neighboring country. So to avoid that, we want you, Taira, and other Ugandans abroad. Museveni was not mentioned to come and remove Idi Amin. So we met in London with the Tanzanian High Commissioner. Kaira came over. And a late Reverend, I forget he was a court, came there. And we planned Moshi.
Conference.
Without Museveni. Museveni came there briefly, and he said, we don't mind what you decided to do with our country, but because we are fighting with Tanzania, it should be a military government. So he initially opposed Moshi. From when you read their books, that is not correct.
Okay. I think precisely.
So I was doing the other side,
sure.
helping Ugandans to come.
They all came from America,
And
so I am glad that you recruited them.
to be registered as refugees. Also the students who had started running out from the university, to place them in different universities. So I was in the
No, you helped definitely. So obviously I now know the reason why you didn't join the war after Moshi.
You joined in a different way. Now, maybe precisely you could share with our viewers your old days at Mwiri, and of course the reason for which we want to have this discussion precisely is to compare your then education and today's education on whether schools, government schools, can produce the quality of you to Mwiri then, sir.
Mwiri was one of the fashionable and highly academic school at the time. We were compared to Budo, Nyakasura, Ntale, Nabumali, and of course Chisubi. Those were the topmost high flyers schools in Uganda. Now, for me, I was told I was either the first or second in the junior leaving certificate, which all of us did, Nelson did. And I was called to two schools. I was admitted at Budo, because Budo was, I think, the most well-known top school in Uganda, where the Kabakas, including the man, the Musaja O is up here. I'll talk about him later. And apparently, I was admitted at first. But most of the Bachiga, who were high flyers, people like Professor Dr. Kanyeihamba, Ruhakana Rugunda, but for him he's younger than me, he followed me. Were at Mwiri.
What about Mondo, Professor Mondo?
Mondo was, I think, at Nyakasura somewhere. He's not one of our OBs, although he's also a flyer.
And Nabudede?
Nabudede was at Nabumali,
and
because he's from there, that area. So, but for us, many of our people from the West went to Busoga. That's where I met him. people like Obote had gone to Mwiri, and for us coming from Kabale, it was very hot at the Mwiri College. Now, people coming from the north, particularly actually in the Lango, they find it very cold. So they took our blankets.
Yeah, back in the days.
You know, Mwiri, you know, there is a great lake here, Lake Victoria. And when I came here, I was mesmerized to find a wonderful scene or view, looking like Mwiri. You know?
Yes.
Lake Victoria is at the foot of Mwiri. And when I first went there, before I saw him, my first Saturday, I saw these students bathing.
From the lake?
No, not from the lake. Bathing at the top of the hill, and about 50 of them were naked. But what was very interesting, they were singing. Because Mwiri was also known for singing. Singing beautiful church songs, Negro spirituals. You're going to reap just what you sow. You're going to reap just what you sow. Up on the mountain, down in the valley. You're going to reap just what you sow. So did
was it part of the? I doubt whether you could even have a voice to say.
No, for me, when I go to Mwiri, I was busy being prefect, so I didn't know how to. But I ran.
You were looking for power.
400 yards. I was always about the third or the second. I never won, but I was very good.
So he wasn't part of the choir.
No, he was not. But I was also house prayer leader. That one I remember.
House prayer leader.
Yes, and he was a prefect.
The choir, one of the leaders of the singers, was a Muganda man. I can't remember.
Kironde.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes. He had the voice of the angels.
I thought Kironde is your name, is a Lusoga name.
No.
Do Baganda have
No,
Kironde?
Muganda, yes.
Kironde is
There was a
Uganda.
Muganda.
So
Yours is Kirunda.
ours is Kirunda. So Kironde, the Kironde is talking about was the choir prefect.
Choir prefect.
The choir prefect. So in Wilson House.
Were you in the same house, both of
Yes.
you?
I was the prefect.
Of Wilson House.
Yes.
In the same house.
And I am also Wilson.
Eh,
So
you're owning your own house.
you can see how famous I am. They named the house at the Mwiri, my name.
So Wilson House has produced very many outstanding boys.
Mention some. Mind save for you too.
Professor George Kiria, former Vice Chancellor at Makerere University. Was also
Dr.
High
Rwanyarare,
Dr. Rwanyarare.
yes, the minister in UPC man.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, he's not well.
Yes,
He has been in a coma for about a year. I went to see him, but I couldn't because they put him upstairs, and I can't walk. So, I went there. The son told me he's been in a coma for 1 year.
Later, Ayume. From
Yes, Ayume was there. Obote.
Yeah, Wilson House.
Obote was before our time.
Yeah, sure.
So, by the way, Professor, we are trying to do a documentary on Mwiri, and it will run into 3 parts. Part 1 will remind us of Mwiri's traditions, the Uganda motto. Mwiri's motto is for God and our country.
He's from there. Yeah, oh yes.
Yes.
That is the motto of the school.
So Uganda.
Before Uganda became a country.
Yes.
Obote.
Obote, who was in Mwiri from 1945 to 47, when he became prime minister, he borrowed it and changed it. Instead of our,
Mine.
it is mine,
Our with the M1.
which has also been changed now. by political leaders in Uganda. It's for God and my stomach, my children, my, you know,
and the rest. Okay, that's a good one. Now, I do not know whether, like I asked when we were starting the show, on whether you think that the Ugandan education system can produce, especially the public schools, can produce the U2 and others. Do you think we still have, even in Mwiri itself now, do you think it can produce people that are of quality?
In the future, but not now. The way we are governed now, the way the ministry is structured and led, we cannot produce the likes of Professor. You cannot produce the likes of Nabwiso today.
I think I will agree with the Professor Kanyeihamba. Now, Reverend Coates.
He was a European?
Yes, he was British. At the end of every year, when sending our students, the completers, they will say, you go into the world there and let your deeds, actions shine before men so that they will see. They will understand, God. And that's Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. The imprint or the message that went into us, first of all, was to be nationalistic. Nationalism. Mwiri, in my opinion, and I've done this, I wrote something casually in 1993, which did not elicit a response. I said that if you look at the history of ministers in Uganda governments, different governments, you will see a very big number of Mwirians. How did that come? The school was prepared, was trained to lead. The students were told to have self-confidence, and we were encouraged to spend more time in self-study, independent study, rather than cramming for exams. My brother here, I see a lot of books here. This is just a few. Now, when I was counting here, he has written more books than I have written.
Yeah.
Me, I have written at least 10, but he has written more.
Has 30 plus, 36.
And more scholarly. What is also interesting is that both of us also studied in the UK. You were in Cardiff?
Cardiff, London. I also taught, lectured at Oxford, and I was the one of the examiners of the Cambridge School Certificate, which we used to do here, and also Welsh examination board. My life has been academic mostly.
Myself, I was in the University of Sussex, where I shared or I met students like Ngambeki, Machache, who became president of Botswana, George Saitot, who was vice president.
The one of
Yes.
Yes,
He was in Sussex. He came to read mathematics. So you see, I'm the only one who has not been the president.
Now, to add to what he's saying, when I was in the UK as a lecturer, I met both prime ministers when we were fighting Amin. I remember the Callaghan was the prime minister of the Labour Party. So I went and met Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady. I met the Archbishop of Canterbury, the leader of the Anglican community in the world. But when he came here, I was at a Makere, and I am the only one who asked a question. Everybody is feared. So when he talked to us, he said we should not fight apartheid, that God never intended us to fight. I stood up alone. I said, Mr. Archbishop, Your Grace, are you saying that we should let these whites, South Africa, govern us forever until God removes them? And he said, yes. Then I said, Your Grace, I totally disagree with you. We are going to fight them as gorillas, as Africans, until they will be removed. But then he changed his mind. When he went to UK, I was the chairman of the Uganda Group of Women of Rights. So he called me, I called him to address us. Then he said, in his final prayer, Lord God, change the heart of Amin to stop butchering his people. But if he can't, remove him. He was removed in 2 weeks.
Okay, now let's, because we have a limited time, I want to have you dive into some bit of parliament, and in particular, why I want to ask both of you to answer this question is that you were in parliament in 2001 to 2006. You were in the same parliament as a CA delegate.
Yes.
And of course, you contributed a lot because you led the.
I was the chairman of the Legal and Drafting Committee. There is not a word in our constitution which I didn't approve.
Okay. I want to begin with the Dr. Nabwiso.
Yes.
In regards to the quality, first of all, the quality of the voters who voted you then, the quality of the products they voted, and the quality of the debate in that parliament, in comparison to the parliament we have now.
In 2001, Ugandans were optimistic about the future. And they believed that Museveni would be stepping down in 2001. Museveni had hoodwinked us in 1995 when he held the 1995 constitution and said we shall be governed by this. And the professor and James Waphablo became the speaker at that time. And there was a hope that he would now get out. And so the parliament was quite dynamic at that time. But, and in 2003, I took the papers, the minutes of his meeting in Raktura in 1993, when he called 77 people, and they agreed that they wanted to rule this country for 50 years. So I put it on the speaker's table. I said, here is this document. What do we do with it? And the speakers asked the then Minister of Internal Affairs, Ruhakana Rugunda, what to respond. He said, oh, no, they will respond in 2 weeks' time. Of course, they never.
No.
But we have seen what I put on that table.
The minutes of then are more or less becoming now reality.
Yes, reality. It was followed in 2005 by bribing members of parliament to amend the constitution to remove presidential term limits, which I did not agree with. I personally did not accept that money, and I believe that you cannot buy me for anything. Yeah, that's.
I wanted to add that really it is a tragedy. In Uganda, as far as education is concerned, it is a tragedy. I'll tell you what, recently, I have appealed now to the Supreme Court. Kigezi Bank of Commerce was founded to stay in that region. I'm sure that many of Soga people, there is something which they consider very, very important. So people like Wakana Rugunda, Mbabazi, the late engineer Barava, we all made a bank called the Kigezi Bank of Commerce. I will send you our memorandum. No, let me finish this one because it is very important. Now, recently, a compromised court said that bank, a few people were entitled to sell it to anybody, in spite of our constitution, which is illegal. That's why I'm going to the Supreme Court. I filed my papers yesterday on that bank. Now, two of the Wanyaki cases who found that bank are saying it is okay.
For the bank to be taken?
As if they are blind. It's just incredible.
Now, we were trying to interrogate the quality of legislation that time when you were there.
Yes.
And the quality of legislation now.
Yes.
Of course, you cannot do away with the people who voted you in the House or the people who voted him in the House. Do you see any distinction between the voters then and the products they would vote vis-a-vis the ones that are voting now and the people they are voting?
There is a great deal of difference. The people who voted for us voted for principles.
You never gave anyone a
voted whether we kept them or not. They voted for the promises we made we are going to do to improve our country.
Not salt, not sugar.
Today, there is only two qualifications. You are either corrupt, two qualifications. Either you are corrupt or you are a slave to the NRM party. Okay. Those are the only two qualifications.
I will keep emphasizing for purposes of keeping time because we have limited time. I want to ask both of you. I will begin with Dr. Nabwiso, in particular about the conflicts of security. Okay, I think we should begin with political parties.
Yes.
It was breaking here and there. In fact, as we speak, some minutes ago or an hour or so, there has been much as the Lord Mayor said, the media should stop calling them a faction of FDC because they are members of FDC, so they haven't become a faction. But literally a faction, it's as if they have broken off from the mainstream FDC, and to which the Lord Mayor is opposed to. We all understand that you were chairing the committee that was trying to interrogate some of the info that came on board.
Yes, problems within the FDC.
You are in FDC.
Yes.
And there's a big person there, given your experience and the rest. Before we tackle FDC, we have seen the same conflicts in UPC. In fact, as we speak, FDC, rather, UPC has, I don't know, we can't ascertain.
Two presidents, yes.
DP, we can't ascertain where it belongs.
Every political party, to help you, every political party has two big portions, factions. Within the NRM, there is a father who wants to be president, and his son,
who also wants to be president.
To be president.
Those are two factions already.
Yeah.
In 2026, both of them
want to be president.
Yes. In the DP, Mao has
his own thing.
has left others stranded. So there is some slight DP within NRM, and then the other. In UPC, you have two. Akena, son of Obote, is the president of one section, and Peter Waluberi. Yes.
One is allowed at UPC headquarters at Uganda House, one is not allowed there. DP, the same thing.
Now, in FDC, yes, these have emerged, but we believe that common sense will rule. But we also fear that even in NUP, there might be a similar situation to developing between the leader of opposition and Chagulanyi.
Now, Dr. Nabwiso, kindly, I want to, because I wouldn't want to sound like I want to remind you of the history, which I'm sure you are aware of, because you, given your age and experience. We had that is Ginger, Ganga, Kamuri, UPC faction. We had the UPC Enkomba of Rwanyagari and others from the West. Do you also, what causes this in the first place? Of course, drawing...
it is the resources. Politics is about distribution of resources. If you don't distribute resources equitably, you cause problems. And now, the resources are being distributed at tribal, following tribal lines. That is the problem. And that's why NRM cannot be a great party. That's why people would think that Obote was more nationalistic. The question of distributing resources along ethnic groups is nonsensical.
In your view, it's what he's eating, NRM?
Yes.
Is it so? Before I cross to Justice Kanyeihamba, how does this, for example, affect FDC? Were there resources that should have been equitably distributed? Because now the conflict, the internal conflicts in political parties. Of course, I also want to draw some, rather, I want to go back to when we had Irinjira having conflicts with his boss Obote, John Kakonge, we have seen Amama Mbabazi with the president. What is it that is within the heads of the Secretary Generals that causes trouble in political parties?
Ibingira and Kakonge were not fighting against Obote along tribal lines. They were looking at governance and management of society in general. When you are a head of an African political party, of course you get access to some resources, covert and overt. But how you manage those resources, some people don't agree with you. So within FDC, there are people, and when I was coming here, I saw Elias Lukwago.
That press conference.
Yes, that press conference. It is not. It is hearsay, mainly hearsay. Nobody can come out, and African rumors, by the way, are very dangerous.
They are decisive.
95% incorrect.
I have put in my book, in one of the books I've shared with you, some chapter which goes by politics of blackmail and malice.
Yes.
So most likely, do you want to tell us that for some reason there could be some bit of blackmail and malice?
Yes, within the FDC, because we have asked those people, you give us evidence.
That's now who alleges must prove.
Must prove. Yeah,
they haven't proven.
This is a professor of law. Professor of law. He knows, and the common sense tells you, if you make an allegation against somebody or accuse him, the burden of showing evidence falls square on you.
What about the saying of no smoke without fire?
Yes, you can say that, but you have to investigate before you get to that.
So that you don't just follow
yeah, for me, and that's why I admire him. He has done everything through research.
Not hearsay.
Not hearsay.
Can I give you an example?
Tell us the conflicts in.
I am hoping we shall win our appeal on Kigezi Bank of Commerce. We all agreed unanimously that should never leave the region of Kigezi. That is a fundamental principle of that bank. Now, I settled out of court a long time ago with Right Honorable Hakana Rugunda. In fact, he comes here often, and I go to his home. The culprit in that bank who who sold it without our permission or knowledge is a man called Amos Nzei. So, because I had settled with Wakana Rugunda and the Babas, we dropped them from the appeal. But let me tell you how they use politics. Corrupt judges recently said, we lost the bank. In law, if you win a civil case, they give you costs. The judges, knowing what they are writing is rubbish, they are just covering it there because he gave them a lot of money, they said no cost. Each party will pay its own cost, which is never had in the common country. But let me what it is. And I'll give you a copy of the newspaper. New Vision, government paper. For Nzei to feel comfortable, New Vision said, Wakana Rugunda, remember we said so a long time ago, Wakana Rugunda and Mbabazi cleared of fraud. They are not a party. But everybody, the newspapers are keeping quiet. Because whoever won the case has paid all the media not to mention anything about that government. This is not the country I was born in, but unfortunately, because of other considerations, I will die here.
That's why,
in sadness and in
and in joy.
as we close, I want to. We're trying to interrogate the conflict in political parties, and we have heard from Dr. Nabwiso that even NRM itself, which to many believed it was still solid, it has the father against the son. FDC,
and no internal elections.
No internal elections. FDC, you have heard, I mean, there's trouble. We are glad he was chairing the committee that was investigating what had been alleged to be true. Okay, what had been alleged. And as the chairperson, he came up with his report, and where he also still asks the people who alleged that they must prove. Where do we see ourselves as a country with these conflicts? Because to remind you, Doctor, a second, to remind you, yesterday, Electoral Commission, by the way, launched its roadmap to 2026, 2025.
It launched it?
It launched its roadmap.
Oh, launched.
Electoral roadmap.
Yes.
So meaning, as Electoral Commission, they're already warming to, to prepare elections for 2025 and 2025 nominations and 2026. The opposition, where Dr. Nabwiso belongs, they are what we call dog-eat-dog competition. Someone just grabs something and runs away with it. Do you see any silver lining?
Well, the silver lining is there. I have written for a long time and spoken that one individual or one political party can never destroy a country. Soon or later, the younger generation, it may not be this one, certainly the next one, will make things right. Otherwise, we shall cease being a country. We shall become Sodom and Gomorrah. We are already Sodom and Gomorrah. Hard breathing. But my hope is, and that's why I co-founded with you Kanyeihamba Foundation. We are going to set up an academy where if Professor Nabwiso is still alive, he will be one of the contributors to the academy. I am going to win a lot of money from the Amazon of America that will be sunk in the foundation. Professor Mumba, probably the greatest orator in Africa, if not elsewhere, and I will have joined in that venture. There is no way we can be destroyed. So there is hope, every hope. But what I want to tell the younger people, focus on your future. Focus on your own well-being. Don't be slaves under the table of the NRM party. As you can see, the son of the president, Muhoozi, is also bears the name of his uncle, Kainerugaba, his maternal uncle. He has said he is the son of President Museveni. He has said the NRM party is useless.
Yeah.
It no longer serves its
Reaction.
purpose.
You said it's reaction.
That is the son of the president. And then Museveni recently abused his people who support Muhoozi and say those are layabouts and silly people who are boosting YK, meaning rather MK, meaning his son.
Okay.
You have written, I think some people say provide the evidence, but really Uganda is now, and the professor here will bear me out, is totally ungovernable by anybody we know. For me, I thought that your friend, Dr. Shiza Besigye, would come back as leader, because if everybody has failed, who replaced him? He's the only one honest politician still standing. But you know what happened? This in place of, I don't want to mention their name, they are not politicians. They are agitators and mostly eaters of the national cake.
Okay, we are using the next 5 minutes to conclude, and with this straightforward question, you hinted onto, of course, all political parties having issues, and you anticipate that also what is eating FDC is likely to eat NOP. Why do you say so?
Well, as long as you don't have internal democracy within the political parties.
A second, sir. Why do you say there is no internal democracy in NOP?
No, I've not.
Okay, have you sensed?
Yes, I've not heard them conducting elections for the leaders. I'm waiting to see whether they are going to do it in the next 2 years and 4 months. Remember, we have only 2 years and 4 months. Now, FDC, at least it is going to conduct. Of course, there will not be any elections in NRM, and most likely nothing in FDC, in UPC. JEMA, I don't know whether they will have any elections. So you see, this is the problem. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there is still hope. This country's motto is for God and our country. Now, for me, I also sing. When Mutesa was exiled in 1953, there was a choir which sang this. Banange nze nabagamba ekikutta obudde ekikutta obudde kiributa Mutesa n'akomawo. You know, you have clouds, dark clouds, hanging above us, but these will clear one day, and let it not be forgotten.
But Prof, your one day has been since 2000. You're telling us one day that cloud is coming.
The cloud will open. Let me also tell you that Museveni is going to find more resistance within the people. He has failed to solve poverty, except in his own area. You think the Basoga who did not vote him in 2021, you think they'll vote him?
Most likely no.
Most likely.
If it takes soap and sugar.
No, but the other time he was doing that. So these are going to happen. And for me, I want to make this appeal to President Museveni, that the greatest gift of legacy, his legacy, he can bequeath to the people of Uganda, is to declare now that he will not stand for.
He's 81 today. Forget about the rumors, people saying he's 72, his party saying he's 79. I know. Boniface Byanyima, he was a Munyankole and a friend of mine. He said, Kanyeihamba, how old are you? I was then 42. So he said, oh, you are only 2 years older than my protege Museveni. So in reality, Museveni today, 81. He's our age mate. But how can people, younger people like Norman here, how can you support him for another term when he will be merely 90 years old? No, we are mad.
That line, that the honoring
Gift
can bequeath, yes. Yeah.
bequeaths to this country is to say that is living power peacefully, and then that will be a wonderful thing. Like Mandela left power peacefully, Nyerere, Kaunda, Nuyoma from Namibia, this president of Botswana, Machake, I think was Machake, like Leopold Sengo, Museveni should rise to that level, struggle to belong to that category of African politicians. Because if he continues...
That's what I wanted to ask you. Could you give us some bit of prophecy that if he continues, what is likely and what is most likely?
If he continues to remain in power and to use the gun, it is the very gun that will throw him down.
Okay. What is likely?
I don't want a coup.
1 minute and we close.
But I think Museveni listens. There are two things he hates. He wants to be a populist. That one he has already lost. Two, he doesn't like losing. If he insists on standing in 2026, I urge all Ugandans to vote him out peacefully. I have already written to him, send him my publication. And when I sent him my publication, by the way, he doesn't acknowledge I am alive. But he answered my book. He said, if all Ugandans, if my people, and many of us think we are his people, if they ask me to resign now, I will retire to my farm in Wachitura. So what my blame is about Ugandans. President Museveni has asked you that if you ask him to, no even voting me, if you ask him now, he will retire. He's not a fool. He doesn't like losing. He will retire to his ranch in Wachitura. What are you waiting for? To give him the message that Dr. Nabwiso is giving, I am giving, and most Ugandans are giving. I think you saw what happened when it was the 30th day of the Kabaka's coronation. I went there because he's my friend. I am Musaji wa Kabaka.
In a minute, sir. Yes.
So in a minute. When he heard I was leaving because it was about to rain, he asked one of his people, tell the professor I don't want him to go before he says hello to me. When I went there, for the whole commemoration, whole day, he stood up to say hello to me. Everybody's media show. You ask him, this man who is disliked by the movement party. How come that the whole Kabaka of Uganda, Sabasajja Kabaka, stood up to welcome him in his tent? People should ask these questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Viewers, we have nothing to add for now. We pray that God continues to keep these two historicals, countrymen, and of course fighters. One was accusing the other for not having joined them to fight again. He substantiated that he did. I hope we live with it after that. And by God's grace, we shall have, we shall pray and we have them. You never know, some other time. May God bless all of us for God and my country.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So
Thank you very much.
Please.
We shall.
Yeah, sure.
Because you forgot Koinange. Mrs. Koinange of Kenya.
Yes, doctor.
Who was born before the colonial reached Kenya, lived, I think she's still living, I don't know the latest, to be 137 years old.
We shall come back.
Age is a number, it is not a disability.
No,
we shall have both of them.
They removed the age limit from our constitution. so we are still.
Yeah, the better has removed the age limit.
Okay, see you people. Let's keep in touch here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Looking for a pair of shoes? Let's Up Stores has a wide range of selection for unisex footwear. We have the best quality of all brands at pocket-friendly prices and we make deliveries countrywide. Just place your order or reach us on 0772 08 0090. You can also check up at Let's Up Stores on all our social media platforms. Let's Up, craft your own footprints.